The pen tool is a really powerful tool for isolating. It's not its only purpose or even its primary purpose necessarily, but it's an awesome tool for getting fine edges, very smooth curves, and very intricate isolations. So I'm going to use that for our purposes today, and I'll show you why. Because this white coffee cup on a white background with a little bit of a shadow poses all kinds of problems to other selection tools. If I try selecting this white background with the magic wand, I'm going to end up selecting some of the cup inadvertently. So that's not what I want. I want really clean edges and smooth sides around the saucer, and I do not want the shadow underneath. And the isolation tools such as Quick Select or the magic wand will easily select, as you'll notice, inside the object, and then they're also adding the shadow. Sitting around and trying to tweak this and get it to look right with these tools is going to leave me with some jagged edges, and it's probably going to take me a long time. So I'll show you a much faster, much cleaner way to isolate this cup using the pen tool. We're going to go grab the pen tool, which is P on the shortcut menu, and you want to make sure in this drop down that you have path selected. You can do some awesome things with the shape tool. You can make different shapes, strokes, lines, and all kinds of things, but for our purposes today, we're isolating and we need the path tool. So I have it as path, and then you'll notice these are grayed out for the moment. Those we don't need. Right here I have exclude overlapping shapes, and the alignment by default is to selection. That's fine. We're going to leave that there. This right here will allow you to bring shapes forward, backward, to the front or back if you have multiple shapes, which we don't, so that's something we don't need. Right here you have a checkbox for rubber band, which for our purposes we're going to leave off today, and I'll explain that later. And auto add delete is fine. We do want that on, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. So now that we have our pen tool active, we're ready to start the isolation. I'm just going to grab a corner here of where the saucer meets the cup, and you'll notice that when I click, I created a little point. This little point is the beginning of my path, and in order to have a full path, I'm going to have to come back to it and close that point. So I'm going to go further on down the saucer, zoom out a little bit, and click and drag here. Now I didn't let off my click. I'm still holding down on my left click. When I click and drag, you'll notice I have these curve tools that help me create a curve with my path. And these handles can be adjusted in many different ways. I'll show you more about that in a second. For right now, I just want to drag it until it gets the curve of the saucer just about right. I'll let go, and I have a start to my path. I'm going to go further down and click again. Now, I am holding down the click. I don't let up on it, and that allows me to drag out more handlebars to control this path. You'll notice the path has inherited a curve from the previous point I created, and that's really important. If I were to have created that path closer, you'll notice that it inherited a curve from this handle, and that doesn't look quite right because the end point of the handle is further out than the new point I created, and it makes a bit of a lump. So I'm going to go far away over here, and it'll inherit that curve, which is perfect. And I'm going to keep this path moving. So I'm going to go to a nice point over here that's a good distance away. Pull it out again. Now at this point, I'm a little concerned that I'm creating too big of a curve to go into that handle. So without releasing my click, I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key on a Mac, and I'm going to pull the handle back towards my point. You'll notice that it isn't affecting the other handle at the moment. When you hold down on the Alt or Option key, you can adjust one handle independently, and that's really useful when you're creating paths. All right, I'm going to let up that click and create a new point here. we have a little glare to the edge of the saucer, which I'm trying to get, which my quick select and my magic wand would surely have missed. Now that I've drug out this last point, still holding the click, I'm going to push Alt or Option again, and I'm going to pull the handle around the direction of the new angle. This is really important. I can pull it while I have Option and my click held down, and I can redirect so that this point causes an intersection here that will go around the handle. All right, now I'll click here, and I'm going to pull out some more. Again, holding Alt or Option, pull my handlebar back in, and then click into this corner. Now, I really want a curve going upwards, so I'm still holding this click. You'll notice, though, I'm not pulling out a handlebar yet. I will, though. I'm going to hold Alt and Option, pull that up, and then click here. You'll notice the reason I did that is because I inherited a bit of a curve from that last handlebar, and it gives me a nice, smooth transition. Now, I'm about to close the path. This is really important, especially if you're going to fill the path or make a selection, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to click on my original point, and you'll notice I have a circle out by my pen tool to indicate that I'm about to close the path. Click that, and then drag my angles the way I want them and get the handlebars to where I have the selection just right. That's a good start to the outside of the cup. And now I'm going to show you why that we want to auto add, delete, and we want to exclude overlapping shapes. Is because we need to get rid of this part of the inside of the handle. So using the same techniques, I'm going to click here, click and drag some handles out, and just quickly isolate this. The pen tool is a little awkward, but you'll get used to it with some practice, and it's super useful for isolating shapes like this. All right, now I have a really nice smooth isolation. How do I turn that into a mask? I'm glad you asked. All right, we're going to go over to the Path tab, and under Paths, it's created a default work path. You can rename that if you want. Call it Coffee Cup. And that just means that when you create your next path, if you wanted another one, you could tell what they were by the names. So down here at the bottom, I have several options. I have Fill Path, Stroke Path, and what I want is Load Path as Selection. When I click that, it now turns my path into the little marching ants selection, and I can isolate from that. So I'll go back to my layers, and what I do is create a layer mask. Now at this point you can copy it, paste it, you can delete it out, but I'm going to add a layer mask because that's non-destructive and it's really simple. So I'll just click down here at the bottom, add layer mask, and there we go. I have my coffee cup with smooth edges isolated against a transparent background. Hope that helps.